Good morning, good evening, and good day. I'm Francine and I really love K-dramas. You're listening to Dramabuds, a Globe Studios podcast. So hello everyone, welcome back to Dramabuds Season 2. Today, I attempt to answer the question, should K-dramas start having multiple seasons? The short answer to that is no. So that's it for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in and I will see you soon. That was a joke. Hello. Of course, it doesn't end there. Okay, my general answer is no. Personally, because I fell in love with K-dramas because they usually just had one season, right? And they created a complete story with a proper resolution instead of, constantly having cliffhangers at the season finale, in hopes that they would get renewed so that they'd have something to work with for the next season. But that's not always confirmed, or you're not always sure that you're going to get that next season and continue that story. Or that's usually the plot-heavy, more serious shows. But I was a fan of comedies and sitcoms, and sometimes it just goes on for long enough that the characters you love start leaving or just randomly vanishing. That's the worst possible scenario, that they can't even, get that actor to come in for a few episodes to film just a proper goodbye. They just vanish and they're written out of the show. They were never there. And yeah, that's the worst possible case for me. Or the show just degrades, as the seasons pass. And that was most of my experience when I used to watch American TV shows back before my K-drama phase. So it was always about keeping people wanting more, leaving a loose thread for them to pick up and continue in the next season that is never sure. And in general, I think the seasonal format made people focus on keeping the show going on for longer because it would keep people employed. The whole cast and crew would have a kind of sure job for another 6 months or more. And it's a flawed system, keeps them employed though. But for me as a viewer, I often, felt kind of disappointed every season finale, or just hoping for more, hoping to find answers to the questions that they left out there in the open. And then a few months later you find out the show was canceled, that they're not going to renew it, there's going to be no next season, and you'll never know the answer to that. They're not creating full and satisfying story arcs to keep me as a viewer happy with what I have, and even happier if they announce that there's a new season and I feel we're just going to see these characters again. But if we didn't, I wouldn't feel disappointed at all. Getting another season would just be the bonus to crafting a great, complete, satisfying story within your one and only shot to tell a story. Your one and only confirmed shot to tell a story. So, no. Short answer, no. That's the long answer. So, long answer, no. I'm not a fan of the seasonal format. And I'm a little bit disappointed that it's starting to become a trend in the K-drama industry. Especially because streaming platforms have entered the industry. They are here. They're a force to be reckoned with. So, because it's becoming a reality, we just have to accept it. Yeah, I personally don't like it, but it's happening. So, let's look at some examples where the seasonal format worked. And why did they work, despite my apprehensions towards it? Let's also look at some bad examples. There are a few. And I want to talk about, some shows that have either confirmed that they're getting a next season, or the ones that I feel like they really need a second season. And if you know anything about my K-drama obsessions of this year, you will know what I'm going to talk about. But that's for later. So, for the good examples of a seasonal show, let's put Kingdom first. Let's talk about Kingdom on Netflix first. I'm talking about this now because, one, it's very short, and it's the most special case of the ones that did it well, in my opinion. First of all, season 1 of Kingdom only had 6 episodes, and that's for a very good reason. Okay, the production of this show is insane. And keeping it short with just 6 episodes would keep people, sane. Sane is truly like the bare minimum here. Sane and healthy and still willing to, grime up and get crazy with all these zombies and all these extras. Like, so much is involved in creating just one sequence of this show, okay? And yeah, they definitely needed to take their time with this one. Second of all, Kingdom is Netflix's first original Korean series at the time. So they didn't have the requirements or the limitations that came with airing on a Korean channel, which usually meant, they had to produce 12 to 20-ish episodes and they had to air 2 times a week, right? Netflix would release everything in one go, and yeah, you could have as much time, I guess, as you need to fully produce it. Like, pre-produced, everything is pre-produced, so you have the time to quality control and check everything with no pressure to, oh, we have to fill up this time slot in our broadcasting schedule. So that's good for them. I think Kingdom Season 2 was well done because it was planned and announced even before the first season aired. Like, they already knew they had a lot of story to tell. They knew how to pace it properly to make sure that Season 2 wasn't just a rehash of Season 1, but a greater expansion of the world and its mysteries. And then a year or so after Season 2, they even made a special episode because, the lore was deep enough and Kim Eun-hee, once again, had more story to tell. Like, Kingdom is excellent. Personally, I'm not like a huge fan of, zombies and saguk and violence. But hey, I can say it's pretty excellent. And hearing Kim Eun-hee, talk about how she thought of, like, why are these zombies so fast? Right? Where the zombie tropes are either they are slow and mindless and they only move fast when they, I don't know, hear or see or smell their prey, whatever, all the zombie tropes. But the Kingdom zombies are rabid and terrifying. And her justification was that, they're hungry. The show, that's the moral whatever of the show, right? That these people, spoiler alert, these people, were so desperate, so hungry, so poor that they ate a human body. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. It's gross. Yeah, but they ate a human because they needed to survive, because they had nothing to eat, because of, the corruption and the lavish lifestyle of the people in leadership, of the high society. Whatever. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm butchering her explanation of this. But, just the thought behind those details that you'd think, oh, they run fast because that's just a zombie trope. But to her, in her world building, no, there's a reason why those zombies move the way they do. And I don't know, it's just a testament to her creativity, really, and just how much thought she put into this show and why, like, she wants to do season 3. She wants to do a special episode for Prince Chang, for Joo Ji-hoon's character. And it's like, I trust you, Kim Eun-hee. You can do whatever you want. I'm sure you have something amazing cooked up in your brain. You've thought about this for years. I'm sure you'll have something interesting and thought-provoking to show to the world when you have the chance. You go. So aside from Kingdom being excellent, though, I am glad that Kim Eun-hee took a break from it to do Jiri-san, which, as this is being recorded, it has not aired. So, thoughts and prayers, I hope it is as good as I have been expecting for the past year. Okay, Jiri-san is probably my most or second most anticipated drama of this year. And all the other dramas I've highly anticipated were quite disappointing. You know what they are. And Jirisan, truly my last hope. Okay, next. Good K-drama with the second season. Doctor Romantic. You know, Doctor Romantic 2 is one of my favorite K-drama seasons ever. Well, wow, ever is a strong word, but I truly love it. It's so rewatchable. At this very moment, I am thinking of watching it again. Okay, so comparing the two seasons, I'm not even going to talk about the cinematography from season 1 to 2. I just won't. It's just not fair, and I'm happy that they improved while still keeping, the important stuff about Dr. Romantic's directing. More specifically, the Dr. Romantic lighting, that bright yellow light shining through the windows when like the main leads are having a romantic moment or they're about to kiss. You know it. You absolutely know it. But yeah, okay, aside from that, in general, season 2 exceeded S1 in my opinion because of how much more mature and even, like, you know what I mean about even. It's level. It's even. I don't know the word, but it just feels equal on all levels. The writing, right? Because season 2 kept the characters that we love. Kim Sabu, the hospital staff. They kept everyone except for the main leads. Replaced those main leads with, in my opinion, more likable leads. And then continued their struggle as a collective, like as Doldam Hospital, doctors and staff, while also emphasizing their individual journeys. Because So Woo Jin had a lot going on in his life. Cha Eun-jae had a lot going on in her life. Kim Sa-boo, now feels like, hey, Kim Sa-boo is not Superman. He is not Dr. Superman. He's going through some things. And that's why, it's so important that he's working with, these talented young doctors because they're kind of helping him continue his legacy and his plans for Doldam, for the hospital that we all love so much. They really doubled down on Dr. Romantic, emphasis on romantic, meaning idealistic and honorable and all the good stuff. Like, that's when it really clicked in my head that, oh, romantic means idealistic. Because Kim Sa-boo is such an idealist, He just wants the best for the hospital, for the people, and we support him. We support Kim Sa-boo all the time. I mentioned that the writing felt more mature for me. I mean, season 2, it didn't feel like a relay of complicated and insane cases the way season 1 was, although there were still a lot of crazy cases. And it wasn't just about taking down the big bad of the hospital president who wanted to bring Doldam down. Although he was still there, he was still the big bad, same guy, different methods, but same agenda. Season 2 was more political about it. And there were people, on the same side who had personal conflicts against each other. And it's not just, the anti-Doldam people, but also the Doldam people had issues with each other at some points. There was, So Woo Jin with his childhood trauma and death from Dr. Bae, the Bone Doctor's parents or father, the gangster debt collector father. One of my favorite moments in the show, I forgot specifically what triggered this, but I think the anti-Doldam people were once again threatening to shut Doldam down, and Nurse Park was like, I'm sure I'm butchering this, but something about okay, whatever, we can find a job in another hospital or something like that. And the admin assistant manager, Jang, it's been too long, I'm so sorry. But Manager Jang was like, it's easy for you medical professionals to say that, but for us administration people, we don't get to look for jobs as easily as you do. So, maintaining maintaining the peace here in Doldam, making sure that we're not all against the new management. Oh, there. So the new management, the anti-Doldam people came in, and Manager Jang was kind of trying to work with them instead of being completely antagonistic, because he needed, a safety net for his own job. And, that was just such an interesting conversation. Like, you've never seen these people against each other or argue with each other like this. But I truly never thought about that. Like, about the hospital staff, the admin staff, and their positions in the hospital, and how, like, he was kind of caught in the middle, but he had to play it a little safe while still, somehow supporting the idealistic struggle of his people, of the Doldam people. And, the anti-Doldams, what a thought. The bad guys, quote unquote, they had good sides to them. They were somehow well-meaning at some point. They were still doctors, right? They still wanted to save human lives. And somehow they were also trying to fight back against their orders and embrace the idealism that Doldam espoused. I don't know what simpler word for this, but what Doldam was preaching or talking about, fighting for. Yeah. So, gosh, I have so much to say. I haven't watched this show in literal months, and those moments, those conflicts, made such an impact on me that I can still remember them clearly. And it's not just because I rewatched this show in one night. We binged like 5-6 episodes in one night. Slept at 4 a.m. This was my second watch, by the way. Anyway, despite my absolute love for season 2, I wouldn't say that it was absolutely necessary. Coming from the perspective of, okay, I finished season 1, and you know what? The show could end here. Yeah, they left a few loose threads, but the big bad was dealt with, and they were all kind of in a nice, stable, happy place. Like, this is a typical K-drama ending, and I wouldn't, it's fine. It is what it is. So, I didn't expect that season 2 would come. Note that I watched this as season 2 and then season 1, right? Please note that this is the order of how I watch things. I really didn't think that S2 was necessary, but it happened, and it was well done. Like, they kept what was good about the show. They kept the hospital community, the idealism that was always challenged, right? It's always being challenged, but it was rewarded. They also kept the iconic kiss lighting. You know what I'm talking about. And aside from keeping what's good, they also improved on what wasn't that good. Like, they had more likable leads for me. And they had deeper conflicts. And it wasn't just about, taking down the big bad and keeping Doldam afloat. Although they did keep that. That was kind of how things went. But in a different way. You'll understand. Please watch this show. It's really good. I love season 2 so much. It's really all you can ask for in a sequel. Some liked S1 more because of the stronger chemistry and the more interesting cases, which I can see that. And, I saw some people saying that season 2 was a political show. It wasn't even a medical drama anymore, which I disagree with very strongly. There were some insane cases in season 2, just not as much as season 1, I guess. But I will truly stand by my belief that season 2 was an improvement in many, many ways. And coming from that, they set themselves up for a good third season, if they want it. Hopefully, with all the leads and the hospital staff coming back, like, there was a news article that Han Sok-kyu and An Yo-sop were preparing, or were confirmed for season 3. They were going to start filming mid-2022, which is amazing. And yeah, it's likely that it'll come out in late 2022 or early 2023, which is crazy. It's crazy. But I'm so happy. Now that I am talking about this show, I really want to rewatch it. I loved season 2 so much. Okay, so my last good example of great seasonal show is Stranger or Secret Forest. That's right. You know, comparing, this is the perfect example of managing expectations. Like, you need to manage your expectations to be able to truly appreciate season 2 for what it was. Because season 2 was good, guys. It was good. It just wasn't season 1. Let me explain. Season 1 crafted a perfect murder mystery, right? Near perfect. Like, slow, yeah, a lot of thinking involved, a lot of like remembering conversations, remembering these little details. But when it came together, it was crazy. It was more emotional than I would have ever expected. Great, truly great. Season 2, however, used murder mysteries as vehicles for a more political show. Like, it's underwhelming if you only look at the reveal of the murder slash cover up. Spoiler alert. If you only look at that specific reveal as the supposed climax of the show. Right? Because you think after everything we've been through, that was the truth? How underwhelming. Nothing compared to the painful betrayal from season 1. No spoilers here. But if you think of the whole journey they've been through, right? All the obstacles they faced, the fact that the dream team of Han Yojin and Wang Shimok were put against each other. There were times that Yojin had to put the police's agenda before the truth and before her partnership with Shimok. And, the kicker, really, the final reveal that the ones in the room where it happened, the ones they were working with, were involved in the very mysteries that they were throwing at each other, the very accusations, like everything that kept them from the truth. It was just their, oh my god, am I gonna spoil it? Yeah, their bosses. It was just their bosses all this time, twisting what little evidence they could reveal to try to turn it against each other, the police versus the prosecutors. It is terrifying and terrible and so frustrating. I think season 2, did that well. I think if you look at it as the whole journey was, anticlimactic and just disappointing because from the very beginning, it was just these two people spinning people around and around. The only thing that was definitely better in season 1 than 2 was the cast, right? There's just something so special about the Western Prosecutor's Office and all of them together in that task force, and then seeing Shimok somehow developing relationships-ish with other people, and then that reveal happens and it's like, everything you believed in is just gone. That feeling of betrayal in season 1 is definitely stronger there than it was in season 2 because we definitely were not as attached to, the real traitor, the ultimate big bad of season 2, the way we were with the season 1 people. Okay, fair. But once again, it was a more political show. It wasn't just about the murder mystery. The murder mystery was the vehicle for the political stuff. And I personally think that season 2 was good because it didn't try to one-up the first season, right? It went for a completely different target. But people were looking for season 1 and they didn't get that. It just wasn't what they offered. And so, yeah, if you manage your expectations and think okay, this isn't going to be as shocking and amazing as season 1 was, reveal murder mystery-wise. But it is trying to tell a story, and I think that story was still executed well for what it was. Am I still hoping for season 3 of Secret Forest? Hell yeah! Of course I'm still waiting for season 3. they left a few crumbs we could pick up. I don't care. But, Lee Soo-yeon is working on... I forgot what it was called. It's not Zero anymore, but the one with So Kang-joon, like, okay, you do you, Lee Soo-yeon. Just come back when you're ready. I'm sure Bae-doona and Cho Sung-woo still want to do this. They're willing to do it. Just don't make them run. Because Cho Sung-woo is... Cho Sung-woo is... So after what he went through in Sisyphus, please don't make him do any more action. He just wants to dance. Let him dance. But yeah, okay. Back to the seasonal format discussion. Sometimes you take what's good and improve on what could be better, the way Dr. Romantic handled it. But sometimes, you can't improve on what was near perfect, so you just do your own thing and do it well. Okay? And Stranger 2 did things well. Good seasonal format. Did not try to exceed what was already too good. So good. Okay, so we move on to the not so good seasonal K-dramas. You know it's coming. Penthouse. I mean, I didn't actually watch this show. Okay, just to be completely fair, I did not watch Penthouse. I watched one episode and decided it wasn't for me. And then it blew up and I still knew it wasn't for me. But hey, more power to everyone who enjoyed it. Many said that season 1 and 2 were still okay, but season 3 was bad. It was just bad. And I really felt that because the people I followed that watched the first 2 seasons, like, when it aired, you could see people live tweeting it because they were enjoying the anger and the irritation and the insane dramatics. And then when it was season 3, it's like first 2-3 episodes maybe, and then after that I think people were just done. The hype just died down, got too ridiculous. And Penthouse is the perfect example of shows that only got renewed for the money, for the ratings, and then the quality went from meh to good lord, what is this? What's happening? I'm pretty sure that's what happened. The fact that they were able to churn out 3 seasons in a year and then they had to slow the last down to 1 episode a week, it just shows that this was not thought out. This was not well thought out and they just did it for the money. Let's be completely honest. Come on, K-drama is a business. They do it for the money. Do it for the charts, not the arts. So hopefully we don't get a cultural phenomenon like Penthouse anytime soon. So we don't have to witness that steep decline anytime soon. Please. I hope not. And another seasonal show that I was not happy with was Hospital Playlist 2. That's right. From my most anticipated K-drama to one of my greatest disappointments this year. Truly. I mean, season 1 was a typical Shin PD K-drama in its first half. Great characters and relationships, heartwarming, tear-jerking, it was funny. It revealed just enough about the characters to make you interested in them and also grow to love them as the episodes passed. Season 2, however, was a typical Shin PD K-drama in the second half. Bloated, focused too much on the romance and who the end game would be. Or that's in the reply series. In Hospital Playlist, it's more like, will they or won't they? But we all know that they will. It's very frustrating. It's just like, when, actually. It's not will they, it's when will they. Hospital Playlist 2 is kind of the reverse of Dr. Romantic 2. Right? It's the reverse of what they did. They lost the good of the show. They lost the really close friendship of the 5, the entertaining flashbacks that made them even more endearing to us. And even the music. I'm sorry, the music was not as good as season 1. Although, to be fair, we already developed attachments to the season 1 OST, like some characters and their relationships, like they already had theme songs in a way, and it's hard to replace like that cognitive or that mental association with the music and the emotions and the people when it's already been built up for a whole other season and a whole year. So in a way, it's not comparable, but just even catchiness wise, it's just not even there. There may be three or four songs that I really liked from season 2 compared to nearly every song except for the sad ones in season 1. And so, Reverse of Dr. Romantic, it lost the good and it made things worse. Right? They made what wasn't that great about season 1, they made it even worse. They already had long episodes that were slow without much plot going on because, slice of life, whatever. Take your time with whatever. Let's just enjoy the day-to-day lives. Okay, we accepted that. And then in season 2, yeah, we're doing that. And then the episodes just got longer and longer. And they didn't have themes to the episode. It kind of just felt like a relay of them being doctors and then them hitting on whoever their love line was supposed to be. And, we didn't even get the 5 of them together as much. So it didn't feel like, oh, this is tying into, a parallel to their relationship, to their friendships in the 90s. Like, none of that anymore. It was just day-to-day doctor life, the slogfest of it. I will really blame all this disappointment on, them, the creators, losing sight of the show's core, which is truly the friendship of the lacking 5. Nothing else. That is the core of the show. Like, would I be okay if the romances stayed low-key and ambiguous and this season featured more of them together as friends? I mean, I'd be sad about IXO. They were the only ship I was really invested in. But, if they didn't explicitly happen, at least I'd have something to look forward to. I could enjoy the little moments of them building up to something whenever that ends up finally coming into fruition. But I'll at least anticipate something instead of being like, come on, we know what's going to happen, and you're still treating it as if it's a mystery, as if you're giving them only screen time with their love lines, and you still think that we don't know that they're going to end up together. Like, you are questioning our intelligence, by making it a will they or won't they when we know they will. So why don't you just focus on their friendship or their resident or their relationships with their residents or their relationships with each other, not just their love line, like so many other things. And instead, most of the characters' screen time, they were tied to their love line. I am so tired. I'm tired. I wasn't expecting much. I didn't expect season 2 to completely change its course and reinvent itself the way Stranger did, right? With S1 to S2. I just wanted Cosplay 2 to be a continuation of everything I felt in season 1. But it wasn't. And that's it on that. I think I've talked about this in 2 other episodes. It just makes me sad that I feel this way about a show that I loved so much. And that's that on that. So, yeah, those are the good and not so good examples of seasonal K-dramas so far. And now I just want to talk about a few shows that to me need a second season. Because although I personally don't like the format, there are some cases where it's unavoidable. And I just have to deal with it, right? So I just want it. I'll just be completely honest and say, you know what? If I'm forced into this, if we have to live like this, then I will live like this. Please give it to me. I beg you. Give me season 2. First, Yumi Cells. Good news, before everything else, it's confirmed. And I think they're already filming it. So, yay! Yumi Cells is my favorite ongoing show of this year. And the fact that I'm saying that when it's about 3/4 of the way done is a really good sign, because this is usually when shows start to fall apart, like completely from me. And since it's a blend of live action and 3D animation, everything has to be well planned because of all the effort they're putting in the production. Like, you cannot mess up, what you want to happen in this show. Everything has to be pre-produced to the max because no one is going to waste their rendering efforts just for someone to change their mind about where the plot should be headed. Talking about the animation, others were a bit put off by it, but I am personally a huge fan of animation. Like, it is just an art style, guys. It's a medium of storytelling, and it deserves just as much respect as, live action films and TV shows. I am telling you, you have to remove the idea that it's just for kids because, in the show, the animated scene with Yumi cells, by the way, the title of the show, Yumi cells, the animated scenes are absolutely necessary. Like, I don't think they're filler scenes at all. It's literally how we see into her mind. And that's the plot of the show. That's the whole point of the show. And that's the whole point of the show, isn't it? That we're getting to see into someone's mind, into the cells that, want to protect her and keep her going and keep her happy. I love it. Okay, I love them all. I love the jokes and how everyday struggles are portrayed so dramatically because of these adorable little cells. Because, internally, that's kind of how we go about life. Like, everything feels so dramatic when we're in the captain's seat. But, if you look at it from afar or in retrospect, it's like, this was not that big of a deal. But it just feels that dramatic because we're living in it. And that's why I feel so much secondhand embarrassment. I feel all the happiness and the, I don't know the word for this in English, the kilig, all the frustration and the irritation, everything. I love it. I'm truly, truly into it. Sorry, going back to the seasonal format discussion. Yes, I'm sorry. I think it's super necessary in Yumi cells because they have to avoid the production crunch, the animation crunch, right? Filming is one struggle. That's one problem to deal with. But animation is another huge issue. And it's just so well done here in season 1. The quality is so good. And I think taking their time with it will definitely be worth it. They should take their time with the animation. Knowing that it's going to be seasonal and that they have a webtoon to base the story on, they are pacing the show just right to show the full spectrum of Yumi's emotions and showing the full development of her relationships and her character. So I'm really happy with the show so far, and I hope season 2 comes as soon as it possibly can, as long as they can make it as good as season 1 was. That's truly all I want. And lastly, the show that to me deserves, needs, more accurately, I needed to have a second season. It's Arthdal Chronicles, baby. What did you expect? We all knew this was coming. I truly believe that Arthdal Chronicles was ahead of its time and it just flopped because people weren't ready for it, okay? I also believe that if it were a 50-episode saguk, similar to the other works of these writers, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they were A Tree with Deep Roots, Queen Sondok, Six Flying Dragons, Jewel in the Palace, I think so. Those writers, right? Amazing, classic saguk, so good. I believe that if it were a 50-episode drama like those, Arthdal Chronicles would have been received so much better. But after talking about Kingdom's insane production and why the seasonal format helped them keep their cast and crew sane and alive, I now acknowledge that maybe that's also the case for Arthdal. Like, they definitely were overworked just to create this show as brilliant, well-directed, well-written as it was. Look, It may feel like it was meandering too much, that you focused on one character so much in this episode and then the next they were gone. But they literally built a whole entire world. All the world building, all the lore, all the effort they put. All the effort they put in crafting every inch of this fictional world. And they needed the time to go deep into each aspect before moving on to another one. It worked for me, right? It made sense for me. Instead of dipping bit by bit into 10 different scenes, 10 different people with different things going on at different areas in the whole world. Gosh, it worked. Okay, it was good. Unfortunately, season 2 isn't actually confirmed and the actors are all doing their own projects. So, doesn't look like this is happening anytime soon. And then there are also so many supporting characters that have grown much more popular and they're booked. Also, so just getting the supporting characters together, even that's a struggle. But I love the show and there is truly so much more story to tell. There are rumors going around that the filming location is being used or will be used again. So I beg the K-drama heavens to please give us Arthdal Chronicles 2. I beg y'all, please. So that's it for me today. Once again, I'm not a fan of this recent trend. The emergence of Netflix and other streaming platforms definitely paved the way for this to happen. But trends aren't necessarily good or bad, right? It still depends on writers and PDs creating K-dramas and stories that are complete and satisfying with a proper resolution. Not just hinging on, maybe we can get a season 2 for this. Like, no, let's just do our best and the extra season is a bonus. Those are the shows, actually, that I ended up liking. I mean, Dr. Romantic and Stranger could have totally ended with one season, but hey, they made it work. They made season 2 completely different while still keeping some of the good stuff from the first season. And they made it work. So it's possible to make a good seasonal K-drama. Hopefully this trend is a good change. Well, only time will tell. Only time will tell. So yeah, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to leave a comment, like, subscribe, follow, and tell me what you thought about today's episode. See you soon!